Hey, hey, hey. Welcome, 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 and welcome to this module. This training, we're going to be going over how to fill out a credit application to maximize your chances of getting instant credit approvals with the leverage of technology. All right, so this is going to be one of the most powerful lessons throughout the entire program. So I suggest that you get rid of all your distractions, grab a pen and paper, and get ready to take some notes. All right? So we're going to go ahead and dive in. So again, make sure that you're staying focused, and you can always come back to this training and rewatch it again until you get it, and then making sure that you're following the steps the right way. Okay, because again, this one is really going to be the tool to skyrocket your credit scores and be able to get you higher credit limits as well. Okay, so back when I was, on my credit journey and looking to get approved for higher credit limits to help out further my business, it was at the beginning of my business and I needed just a little bit more lines of credit to help grow the business. So, with owning my own business, I was wondering, how can I get approved for a higher credit card limit? And, knowing that, I'm a new entrepreneur and, my credit wasn't the best, but, I wanted to be able to, get access to more credit lines. All right. And then, when you're self-employed, banks don't really view you as very credible with variable income and not sure if you're really going to make your payments on time. So that was the dilemma. All right. So I was wondering, how can I turn the situation around? So it was time to get creative. And that's when I had the bright idea. Rather than just seeking to get approved for one credit card with like a $30,000 limit, what if I got approved for 10 credit cards with a $3,000 credit limit? Could that work? So that still amounts to the same total, right? So wondering how could that work? So it seemed like it could work, but there was one more issue when it comes to that. So remember, one of the factors in getting credit lines and factoring your credit score is hard inquiries. So remember the thirst bucket we talked about. So the guy that's walking around the club, trying to talk to all the women, and not really, staying focused on the one, so when they're doing that, the women look at him and they're like, no, you're too thirsty. And they don't give him the time of day. So when they don't get that attention, then, it's the same as not getting approved by the bank for credit. All right. So with this being a dilemma, we had to figure out how for those hard inquiries not to count against you, right? Because if you get too many inquiries in a short period of time, more than likely you'll get denied for other future credit requests, right? So you're kind of like in a catch-22. So let's say you apply for 10 credit cards. Chances are you might get approved for the first few cards, but then the hard inquiries from those first few cards are now going to kick in. So now getting the rest of your other credit applications, when those are ready to be filled out, you're going to get denials. All right? You're going to get denials. So instead of saying, I can't do this, I had to figure out a way and say, how can I? Now, by saying, how can I, this is saying, how can I apply for 10 different credit cards and not have the hard inquiries count against each other? So rather than apply for a card one at a time, what if I could somehow glitch the system and apply for all of the credit cards at the same time within 2 seconds? Could that work? So it was only one way to find out. So to find out if it could work, I had to test it out. So I figured if I was going to get approved for 10 credit cards, that inevitably I would have some denials as well, right? So in that event, I knew I had to make a bigger list than just 10 cards. So I made a list of 15 cards that I thought I might have a chance at getting approved for. All right, so at this point, please keep in mind that I had a 695 credit score. I didn't have any derogatory accounts in my credit report, no late payments, no collection accounts at all. All right. So FYI, do not start this process if you have poor credit. If you have negative items on your credit report, you have bankruptcies, you have derogatories, a whole bunch of late payments, don't start this process. You need to go back to the other training modules, complete those steps, follow the dispute flows, get those negative items off your credit report, and now then you're ready to build. All right. I also already had 2 existing credit cards, so all I did for those accounts was ask for credit limit increases. So just contacted those creditors for credit limit increases, right? So once I had my list of 15 cards in place that I was going to apply for or ask for a credit limit increase for, I opened up all of the URLs in my internet browser. Now I want to show you exactly what your list will look like. So I'm going to go ahead and open that up. So I want to just show you an example list of what you would make for all the cards you're applying for. So now you want to be sure that you've done all your research on the cards up front on what they have to offer, what their requirements they're looking for, so you know the list of cards you're going to apply for. All right, so I'm going to share my screen so that you can see. Give me just a minute. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So right now you should be able to see the credit card list. All right. So you're just going to list the name of the card, right? The account, and then the URL for the application. And that goes here. That's it. So you just copy and paste, put it in a little spreadsheet, and then boom, you're ready to go. All right. So this is what makes it very easy and simple. So you list your 15 cards. Here's just, 10 I just did for you. And then the URLs here so that you would just, click here and copy and be ready to copy and paste it into your web browser. All right. So let's get back to the lesson, but this is exactly the spreadsheet you want to make. All right. Your list of cards and then the URL browsers. All right. Because we want to make this fast. Remember, this has to be fast. So you don't have time to go looking up URLs at this time. You want to be sure you already have the URLs so that you can pop them into the browser and boom, boom, boom. All right. So I'm going to show you what that looks like as well. Okay. So let's pull that up. Oh, not this one. Oh, no. Okay, so here we go. All right, so now you have all of the credit cards in your browser, right? So you just grab them from your Excel spreadsheet and then open them all up, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? So you have them all across here. They're all open, right? Ready to, so this we have to refresh. So we're going to go over that. But again, you see them all in your browser, okay? All right. So remember, do your research, know which cards you want, know what they're looking for, and which ones you have the best chances of approval. All right, so you've opened them all up in different web windows, right? And you also have to be sure that you're moving quickly. Remember, the screens do time out. As you can see, I put them in already before I recorded, and some of them did time out. So you want to be sure that you're checking them and filling out the information quickly so that the screens do not time out on you. All right, so fill out the information for each application. So this is the secret here. Secret to filling out the application. Here it is. Fill out all of the information for each application, but do not submit them yet. Do not hit the submit button. All right. You're not submitting one by one applications. All right. Okay. So you want to input all the information. Then when they're all completed, you stop. All right. You stop. Okay. So you don't want to have, you don't want to submit any applications as of yet. All right. So I want to take you to one of the applications so that you can see how you're going to now fill it out. All right. So remember, the goal is to complete all the applications and submit them in less than 2 seconds. This is a scenario where each inquiry is less likely to count against each other, especially between the 3 credit bureaus. All right, so in other words, when it comes to the approval process for each application, they would be more likely to approve your request since it will be processed with less hard inquiries. This is how the glitch comes in. Okay, so again, I'm going to make this very clear. This process is not for people that's trying to restore their credit, i.e. people with late payments, collections, things like that. So you will have to stop watching this video and go back to credit repair and the dispute process and those trainings with the dispute flow letters and get rid of your negative items. All right, this is the section where you're rebuilding your credit. Rebuilding, okay? So I want to just give you a rundown of what can happen when you do submit your application. All right. So I applied for Chase Freedom, approved for $10,200. Bank of America credit limit was increased from $2,500 to $9,500. Discover approved for $2,500. American Express approved for $2,500. Citibank approved for $2,200. Capital One approved for $2,000. Barclays approved for $1,500. Wells Fargo approved for $2,000. Credit Union $1,000. And another Chase for $1,500. So guys, I was blown away that it actually worked. So yes, some cards on the list that I applied for were denied, which was expected. I told you that. But getting an extra 30-something thousand in new credit lines from an idea that I just had minutes ago was really cool to experience. All right. So now that you know the core strategy of mass applying for credit cards in a short period of time to glitch the system, now we're going to go over how I would fill out the application for the best chances of approval on each one if I were you. All right. So now keep in mind, I'm telling you what I would do as Stephanie Lawrence, what I've done. Okay. I'm not a personal banker and I don't take any legal responsibility on what you decide to do with your personal credit and finances. This is just what I would do. All right. This is, a process and strategy that worked before. All right. So let's dive into filling out the credit card applications for approval. So hold on just a second and let me pull up the application for you. Okay, so here we are at the application and we're gonna go ahead and go through and tell you exactly what you need to do to fill it out. All right, so you're gonna put in your name, right? And fill out your address. I'm just making up an address here. Okay, so we're just gonna fill out the address here. Put in your birthday, mother's maiden name, and your email address, your social. Okay. All right, so you input the information here, right? Now we're gonna go into type of residence. Now, if you own your own home, you're gonna click own, right? You would click own. However, if you do not own your own home, you would click rent, okay? You would type rent. Now here's the key. You wanna put that you only pay $100 in rent. $100 in rent. This is because you want to show that you have the disposable income to be able to pay on this account, all right? And that all of your money that you make does not go towards rent. That's what they want to know. Like, what's your debt to income ratio? How much are you spending on your rent? Like, are you gonna have any money left over to pay this account? Like, what's the deal here, okay? So this is why you're only gonna put $100 towards rent. Now, if they ask, you live with your parents, you have a roommate, or you have somebody that helps you out with your rent, okay? That's simple. You only pay $100 in rent, right? Now, if you have a job, then you put your annual salary here, right? So make sure it's at least $45,000, okay, and then up. However, if you are self-employed, you want to keep the range between $50,000 and $70,000. Now, this is because $50,000 to $70,000 isn't a whole lot for an entrepreneur, so it's not likely to raise a flag. It's not likely to raise a flag to ask for the verification of income. So you want to keep this between $50,000 and $70,000 for your annual income. All right. So you're going to say you're self-employed. If you're self-employed, and you put in your phone number, okay? And then you're done, okay? This is how you would, I don't know. Oh, it should match Illinois. I don't know what Illinois is. So, but I mean, okay, you get the point here, okay? So this is how you would fill out the application. Again, if you own, you put you own. However, if you do not own your own home, again, you put rent and you only put $100. This is very, very important, guys. You gotta play the game with these banks to get approved. All right, so you only want to put $100. Let them know you live with your parents, you have a roommate, or someone else helps you with your rent. All right, but just $100. Your income all does not go towards rent. Okay, that's all they want to know. All right, so very, very, very important. Okay, so then the application will ask you, do you want to add any authorized users here? You don't need to do this step now. You can always do that later. I recommend doing it after you get approved for the account, so I would leave that blank. Then I'll ask you about any transfer balances, and I will also leave that blank. Again, this can be done after you get approved for the account, so I wouldn't worry about filling this out right now. You don't want to give them too much information again. Just do the required parts, okay? So then you want to click that you agree to the terms, right? The terms and everything. So you will come down, scroll here, and click this box, right? And then you stop. Remember, for each application, you're going to do the same thing, and then you click here and stop, right? Nothing further. Do not hit the submit button because you're not submitting the application yet. Just click the box and have everything filled out, okay? All right, so again, there are some credit applications that will ask you, hey, do you have a checking and savings account? Now, you want to say yes. You want to say yes because they want to know if you have existing accounts that possibly have money in them in order to pay off the card, right? Even if it's with another bank. So always state yes, that you have a checking and a savings. A checking and a savings, okay? Now, back to those people who are self-employed. You want to be sure you put your name of employer, so you can put the name of your business. And then, remember, some people do make the mistake of putting down too much income, and that's when the banks trigger and ask for verification. But if you keep it within this range, then it shouldn't raise a flag, right? Remember, banks have a hard time with verifying the amount of income you make, so you can always use a projected income of what you're going to make in a business. All right, so this is called your stated income. And 50 to 70,000 is usually enough to get immediate approval, right? But not too high for them to attempt to verify. Okay? So you definitely want to show that, you're responsible and that you can pay your account on time. All right, so we got to play the game, guys. We got to play the game. Remember, rental payments, only $100. You want to prove good debt to income ratio, that you have the funds to pay on this credit line. Again, your explanation is you live with your parents, you have a roommate, or someone's helping you out with the rent, because it's all going to look good on your application. Okay? Now, if you do own, the bank's asking this because they want to know if you own a house. That's their angle of retrieving funds if you don't pay off any borrowed accounts. Okay? So that's like, using your collateral, right? So that's important for them as well. All right. So note that out of dozens of cards that you're going to apply for, that they all have immediate decisions. Like I got all immediate decisions. The only one that asked for verification was my local credit union. So the credit union is a little bit more strict about those things. So they may ask, so you can either leave that off your list or just expect verification. So in the event that they do ask for verification, just give them your real income documents that you have and let them know that you entered in your new 1099 taxable income for the business on the application, right? And that's what you're stating, what you're expecting to have made in a 12-month period, okay? This application didn't ask, but most of them will. It will ask you, does your credit report show any bankruptcies or serious delinquent accounts? What's going to be your answer, right? Some of the people make mistakes and put yes, if they do have a delinquent account or something. You're going to say no. No, 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 no. Do not check yes for this. Even if the report does have a few blemishes, make the credit card company work for this information. Okay? Otherwise, if you straight up say yes, you're basically telling them that you don't want to be approved. You're saying, hey, I'm raising my hand. I don't want to be approved for this account. Right? So you want to say no. All right, so come on, guys. Do not check yes for this. Make them go look for it and find it if they want to. All right. So we went over the authorized users. You don't have to fill that out. We went over the balance transfer. You don't have to fill that out. I just recommend doing all of that after you get approved for the account. Okay. Agree to the terms. And this is the part of the application where you want to stop until all of your applications are filled out. Okay. Now keep in mind that most applications have a 10 to 15 minute timeout window. So you may need to keep checking those tabs to keep the application open. Now what you can do is get all the information all at once and just copy and paste to move quicker, right? You don't want to have to be typing in everything like I just did. You want to be able to have it all at once. That's your first application. Then you just copy and paste everything else, right? So this gives you a better chance of moving quicker and then being able to submit all of your applications at the same time. So once you go back to that window, right, with all of the credit applications open in different browsers, you want to go back and then go to each one and click submit, 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 submit. This should be done within 2 seconds, guys. So that should be enough time to glitch the system, have less inquiries, and be able to get more credit approvals. All right. So I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Like I said, this is some very powerful, powerful information you're not going to find elsewhere. So I really hope you enjoyed it. Again, come back and rewatch if you missed anything, or if you need to slow it down and take notes, or to just, do it the right way. Follow the steps in this video and you'll be good. All right. So if you have any questions, again, bring them to the Facebook group and I will answer them personally. All right. So that's all for now, and I'll see you in the next training.